Hello, my friends, my fabulous diamond friends. How are you today? I'm so happy to come today. I'm coming on quick because I want to tell you the secret, right? And the secret is that we all have the power. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. I don't know where you're at, but I'm sure it's a beautiful day where you're at as well. But I wanted to come out quick and say that we all have the power. We have talked already about watching what we say, especially watching what we say to our children, how we speak to ourselves. But I wanted to tell you something. The same way the principles work as far as watching what you say on the negative way, it also works in a positive way, right? That powerful tool that we all have, which is our tongue. Remember where they say that the power of life and death lies on the tongue? Well, it's so very true. The same way we don't want to speak negative, like I mentioned, to our children and to anything around us, that means we have to flip it around, right? And we're going to speak positive. Right, I'm going to recommend a book at the end, like I usually do. I'll put it in our comments. But it's so important to speak positive into what you want to do. Speak life into what you want to do. Whether it is that you want to lose weight, whether it is that you want to get a better job, whether it is that you want to get a raise at your job, start your business, anything that you want to do, it's so important to use this tool right here, the tongue, right? To speak positive, speak life into it. If you're a believer that, like me, we know that the Bible says that God spoke and it was so, right? So the same way with us, we have that power, but guess what? We don't exercise it. We doubt all the time. And even sometimes we speak something so it could come into existence, but guess what? We're not patient enough to wait for it, and we start doubting and speaking negativity, so we cancel out anything that we have spoken already. So why am I speaking about this today, right? Because there's, again, so much negative around us, right? And we definitely have to speak positive into the circumstances. I get a lot of people commenting or sending me direct messages or commenting regarding the circumstances or regarding their own personal lives during with the or before COVID, right? As always, I'm not trying to minimize. I'm not by no means minimizing what's happening around us, but we have to go through it, right? So we have to speak positive. Again, it's so powerful. It's how to watch what we say, right? You know how we always say, well, what you see is what you get, right? So especially us ladies, okay, well, this is me, what you see is what you get, I'm coming at you, but guess what? What you say is what you get as well. So it's very important to watch what we say, and especially in the positive aspect. So let's start practicing, right, or working on that on a daily basis. And how you could get that done is thinking before we say, thinking before we make a comment, or even on ourselves. Sometimes we make a mistake and right away we're like, oh, I'm so dumb. No, I'm so smart that I realized that I made a mistake and I'm going to correct it. Or next time I'm not going to do the same thing. You see how easy it is? It's a matter of habit. I don't want to say that it's so easy, but it's simple, right? So what we need to do is on a daily basis, kind of catch yourself when you're going to say something. It's so important, especially on our own life, on our family's life, on our children, on our spouses, to speak that positive, right? To speak that, speak of what it is, of what you want as it already is, right? So that means you're speaking it into existence. There's no juju or no, crystal ball or anything like that. But guys, let me tell you, it is so true. It does work. It does work. What happens is that we're not patient enough to wait for it to come to fruition, and we start uprooting the seeds that we have spoken with this little tongue right here, right? I mean, all of our parts in our body are very important, from our brain down to our toes, but the tongue is so powerful. Remember growing up, that saying, sticks and stones won't break my bone or something like that. But guess what? Somebody could hit you and you get over it. But somebody says one thing about you, and for years later, because what they said impacted you so strong that years later you're still talking about it. Years later you're telling a new friend how you remember this one time your mother or your father or this previous friend or your previous spouse said something. Why? Because it's so heavy. It's so important. We take it so strongly. The word, right? The word that was said unto you. So then imagine how strong it is when you speak to someone or tell something to somebody, how it's going to affect them. You follow what I'm saying? The same way it's affect you, sometimes it's something that happened on third grade, right? And now, many years later, based on your age, you could be 12, you could be 15, you could be 50, you could be 60. You could still remember that word that was spoken unto you that affected you, right? So now the same way, remember, the subconscious can't tell between true or lie. The subconscious, whatever you say or whatever somebody says, it takes it and it acts upon it, right? So that's why it's so important to exercise that strength when it comes to speaking and speaking positive. This little thing right here, this tongue, like my friend Brenda says, sometimes you just have to and stop it from saying what you're going to say, or keep it inside, or like my friend Antoine said on Sunday, pause before you're going to say something, right? I'm a very fast speaker sometimes, and sometimes it's like I speak faster than what I'm thinking, or I'm thinking and I want to get it out. But we have to practice that pausing. Be careful on what you're going to say, right? Because it's so important, or it's so it can affect somebody, it could have, and then if it affects somebody, guess what? It affects yourself, right? So when you call all these negative things about yourself, like I'm so, dumb, or I'm so fat, or I'm so whatever, all of that is going in your subconscious, and then you're acting accordingly. Haven't you found sometimes saying like, I don't know why I can't stop eating these chips? Because you already told your subconscious it doesn't matter because you're so fat, right? So it's so important to not only speak positive to others, but to yourself. This little tongue right here, this member of our body, which is so tiny, I believe is the most powerful. So that's why I told you I come on today and say, I'll give you the secret. We all have the power to speak things into fruition, but guess what? We have to be patient, because it's not in our time, it's in His time. But we just have to continue speaking it, right? It's so important not to uproot those seeds that you have spoken, right? And let's speak it all together right now, right? We are gonna be healthy. None of us gonna get sick. None of our families, nor our friends, right? Let's speak it together. Let me wait a second. Are you saying it? I know you're saying it, but guess what? We have to say it every day. We have to get up in the morning. That's why it's so important to listen to motivational talks or read motivational books instead of the news. Let's turn off the news, guys. Let's turn off the news. We already know what's happening. Listen, if it's something so big, let's say something happened to your family member, somebody's going to call you, right? So let's turn off the news. If you love TV, I know a lot of my friends love TV. I love movies myself, right? So let's watch stuff that's positive. I'm not saying don't watch TV. Let's choose what we watch, right? So that, remember, garbage in, garbage out. But this tongue right here, I'm telling you guys, this tongue is so powerful. And you, all of us have the power. Right? The same way, remember the principles are the same in whatever you're doing. The same way you could affect somebody talking negative, the same way you can affect somebody talking positive. You could affect yourself, you could affect your friend, a stranger, your child, your brother or sister in the church, a family member, the same way. So let's start from today. anytime you're gonna say something, pause. Especially if you're talking to somebody that is, you know, maybe not as strong as you, you know. Not all of us are the same. Some of us are a little bit weaker. So it's so important, you know, you're going to say something, pause. Especially if it's something that somebody asks you. Somebody wants to, wants your opinion, right? Just pause for a second before you answer. Because believe you me, it will affect that person for the rest of their life. It will affect that person for the rest of their life. I have to repeat that. So many times, let's say we hear about somebody that did something, you know, something negative. The shootings, they did something to their spouse. And every time, guys, they do research, the person reacted that way because something that happened to them in their childhood, because something that somebody told them growing up. You see how important it is, right? So you, all of us have that power. We all have the power. That's the secret for today. We all have the power to bring positive into our life, right? To bring positiveness into our life. This little tongue, I'm going to repeat it 100 times. This little tongue has the power. You have the power, my diamond friend. You have the power to change things, not only in your life, in your family's life, in a stranger, in a stranger's life. And that's what we're here for. I say it all the time. We did not come into this earth, into this world, to get up, go to work, come home, eat, go to sleep. We come into this world to do good. We come into this world to help one another. We come into this world to, be fruitful and fill the earth, but in a positive way, right? So that little tongue, this little member right here, we have to cramp it sometimes, right? And I know a lot of us, I've been guilty of it. You know, oh, that's me, that's how I talk, or that's me, those are my thoughts, I'm set in my ways. No. Whatever comes out of this mouth, from this tongue, comes from here. And whatever comes from here, comes from here. Right? So it's so important to put positive in, so that when it goes here and it comes out here, it does good to your fellow man. Right? So the power of this little member, the power of this tongue is incredible. The power of this tongue has created what we have, right? So the same way, you have the power to do the same thing. We have the power, my friends. We have the power. So this little thing right here, like my friend Brenda says, sometimes we just have to cramp it, right? And reverse it. Give it a thought. And then answer. Right? And I'm not saying, you have to take 100 years. Sometimes 1 minute, 10 seconds. You remember how when we were growing up, they used to tell us count to 10 before you answer? Count to 10 before you say something? Why? Because this tongue can affect somebody's life until the end of times. So I'm reminding you today, my friends, this little tongue right here is so powerful. So take 10 seconds before you answer. Take 10 seconds before you speak negative into somebody's life. Take 10 seconds before you speak something negative into your own life. Right? As usual, I so appreciate you're here with me today. I will go ahead and put in the comments a couple of books that I recommend. I'm really big into positive mental attitude books. It has changed my life tremendously. If it wasn't for that positive information, my friends, I wouldn't be sitting here today. At all, right? Of course, the main book, the Bible, but other books that can help us. A lot of these books are based on Bible principles, even though their scriptures are not on it, right? But these writers that are so successful, where do you think they get the principles from? From that main book. So I'll go ahead and recommend some books in the comments. I know maybe these days people don't read, but you could hear them on Audible. You don't even have to buy the book. A lot of these books are on PDF form, so you could maybe print it or keep it on your computer. And every night, my friends, let's practice this and let me know how it works for you. Every night, work on reading at least half hour on something positive. Right? Because a lot of us might say, well, I don't like to read. I haven't read since I left school, right? But let's start from today. Let's say you don't have the habit. Okay, read 15 minutes. And you know why I tell you to read 15 minutes? Because if you try to read more and you don't have the habit, your mind is going to wander. So let's start with the 15 minutes. So let's start with the half hour if you're able, right? Positive mental attitude books. Just Google, Google, and trust me, there's thousands and thousands and let's say millions of positive mental attitude books that you could go ahead and start putting some positive in here. So it could go here. Then it'll come back here. And next thing you know, you'll be saying things that you're wondering, where did I get that from? Because you'll be putting positive in, right? So you have the power to control this little member right here that would affect not only your life, but everybody's life, right? So again, if anything that I have said you feel could be a help to somebody else, do not forget to, or please share the video, right? At the end, it will ask you to be notified when I go live next time. And I would so appreciate you click yes. So that way you don't have to remember. This little tool right here, Facebook, is something incredible. I don't know what we used to do before it, but we have been able to reach and communicate with people that live way across the world. So I so appreciate, and I appreciate you. And again, next Tuesday we'll talk about another topic. But today, from today, my friends, this tool, the tongue, is the one that really is going to control your life and those around you. So go ahead, practice it. Before you say something, pause 10 seconds. You could say it out loud, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or you could say it in your mind. But remember, you have the power. You have the power. We have the power. We all have the power to control this right here. And remember, everything that comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. So if you put positive in, good things in, your heart will be. I know we go through trying situations, we go through powerful things, whether if it's your health, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, we go through some rough things. But we have the power. We created in His image. So we have the power to control this little thing right here. It's so many things I want to say. So, it's such a powerful topic because it's been so, it has changed my life. It has really changed my life, and I still struggle with it here and there, right? But from today, I'm going to be stronger with that habit, the same way I'm telling you, because when I talk to you, my friends, it's something that I'm working on as well. I don't want to come on here, trying to give the impression that I'm perfect and the stuff that I'm telling you, I've mastered already. No, I'm also working on it. That's why I know since I'm working on it, there's plenty of us out there that might be working on the same thing. So take that and digest it, like I would say, put it in your pot, cook it a little bit, and say, something, from today, this little tongue right here, this member, this tool, I'm gonna master it. This tongue is never gonna get me in trouble again. You know, doesn't mean that you gonna be perfect, doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen, but you have to master it. You have to work on master. We all have to work on mastering it. This tongue, my friends, is not gonna, repeat after me, this tongue, this tool, this member, this little one right here, cramp it, is not gonna get me in trouble again. I am gonna count till 10. From 10 go down if I have to. Some of us have to count from 20. I'm sorry. Some of us have to count till 20 because, you know, we're a little strong-headed sometimes, right? We're a little knuckle-headed, right? But guess what? Practice it. Practice it. And speak that positive into your life, into your family, your friends, your children. Remember, again, the same way speaking negative could affect somebody's life, speaking positive definitely will affect somebody's life. Again, I'm so appreciative of seeing you here today. If you're watching the replay, you can put in the comments that you watched the replay. Again, I will go ahead and put some books that will help us master this tongue. Right, so yes, Keith, some of us have to count from 30 go down because this, I mean, tell you, this tongue right here is so powerful, right? But we all in the same boat. Trust me, we're all in the same boat. So I'm gonna see you next Tuesday. Maybe we'll pop in on Friday and say a couple of little things. But I appreciate you, love you, and I see you next week. Bye for now.